This is a Anything Goes podcast production.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Journey of a Soul Sister, you guys. Like I told you, some of these episodes will be visuals and then some of them be audio. You just never know what you're going to get from me. However, today, oh goodness, today, I have someone on my show. You never know who you're going to get when you sit down with him, right? It just all depends on what button you're going to push. In the previous episode, I had his other half from the Music, Life, and Love podcast. Shout out to G. You know what's up. But now I have the rule breaker, the beat of his own drum, the one that think it's his time and no one else's. The guy himself, M.Soto. I call him M. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I like that introduction.
See?
For your viewers and your listenership, it's M.Soto from the Music, Life, and Love podcast. What's going on? Oh, you got something in your shirt.
Oh, you got me?
There we go.
Thank you so much. See?
Anytime.
Got me. All right. Okay. So from your podcast, let's just dive straight into it. Clearly, if they can tell by your accent, you're not from here. Would you like to tell everybody where you're from?
I'm from Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville section.
Brownsville section. Ooh, born and raised?
Yeah, I had to say that because it's a New York thing. When you say you're from New York, they're going to be like, from where? From Brooklyn. From where? Brownsville. From what block? So it's just custom for me to do that.
It's a custom thing for you guys to do.
Yeah.
Okay. So what brings you here to Baltimore?
Well, I got here back in 2009. Actually, I left from New York back in 2005. I had joined the military. So I got stationed out in Kansas. From there, I traveled all over the world and whatnot. And so I was like, it's time for me to go. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of people telling me what to do. And most of the motherfuckers is younger than me. So I got out and I was like, damn, if I get out, where am I going? Because I'm not trying to go back home. So I said, I hit my sister up. She was out in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yeah, you could come here. I was like, yeah, I think I'll stop there first. I wasn't trying to go back home. For me, it would have been like a form of defeat to go back to a place that I left and have to start all over. So I'd rather go somewhere else and just, venture off, do something new.
Okay, so you say you joined the military. Thank you for your service, by the way.
Appreciate you.
No problem. What was your journey leading up to this? Because it's a journey of a soul sister, right? So the whole point is to hear everyone's journey. Why, being from New York, why did you join the military?
I'll be honest with you, that was something that was introduced to me at a young age because I had family members that was in the military. And I told myself, like, hey, that's something that I was interested in. I actually wanted to do the Air Force first.
Okay,
But,
so what branch did you end up?
I ended up in the Army.
Okay.
And that was like by accident. And I'll explain that. Yeah, that was by accident.
Give us some backstory.
All right, I'm gonna tell you. But so what happened was at the time, I think I dropped out of high school. I dropped out of higy school like 11th, 12th grade. I can't really remember. I just wanted to make money, to be honest. And I felt like, I got to be at school. I can't be making money. So I was like, fuck it. I'll leave. I'll work and make money. And it just wasn't enough. They cut me from my job. So I went back, finished it off. And then I was like, okay, cool. But I still need to maintain a lifestyle. Even though I was young, I was like 18. So I talked to this recruiter. Originally, it was the Air Force. And he was like, your score is not high enough, right? It was just at the cusp of making it. So he was like, look, just take it again, and then we'll bring you in. I took it again. I scored lower than the last time.
Wow.
So I couldn't even get in.
Get in the Air Force.
I've
heard the Air Force is very, very picky, very, very tough.
Yeah, but I was just winging everything. So I couldn't fuck with the Air Force. I could curse, right?
Yeah, you're fine.
All right, cool. I couldn't fuck with the Air Force. So then I was like, all right, let me try the Navy. The Navy was like, your first score, you should have left it. You would have been able to get in. But since you got this low, I was like, all right, fuck it. So I hit up the Marines. So the Marines, they were supposed to come get me that day, but the Army recruiter showed up first. He was like, come on, you. I was like, yeah, let's go. So we went down there, we did the paperwork. We started doing everything that we needed to do to go down that route. And he was like, pick a date. This is all unrealistic to me. He was like, pick a date. I was like, all right, cool, March 15th. My mother was supposed to be getting married 2 weeks later. I'm like, I ain't gonna make that. I gotta go. And this is like right when, this is like during Iraq and everything. So when I told her, she was like, nah, you're not going. You my only son. I'm like, yeah, all right. I'll catch you later. And so that's that's what started my journey, at least from that leg, into the military.
Okay, so when you, like you say, you enlisted, because that's the proper word to use, for the military, was it a cultural shock for you? Like, I have to ask these things because you're going somewhere. I have family, of course, in the military. And my sister, she just retired last year from the Air Force. She's been in, I think she was 18, 19.
That's the one I met?
That age. No, you didn't meet this one.
Oh, okay.
With that being said, what was the first thing that came to your mind? Like, you get off the plane or wherever they sent you at, you're at boot camp, because I think that's where you go first, right?
Yeah.
What was it? I know you can't say too much, but what
I'm gonna
was
tell
it
it all.
for you? Okay, what was it for you at boot camp?
You know what I'm saying? This is your platform, so I'm telling it all. Yeah, I'm telling you know what I'm saying? So the day before you get picked up, your recruiter takes you, I believe he takes you to in processing. You got to swear in, and then I guess the next day you get on the plane. So they pick you up, they take you over to JFK. Well, I went to JFK. Then we took off from there to South Carolina, and we had to go to a particular area, a holding area. And then after that, they put all of us coming from all over on the bus, and then we showed up at the basic training site. So we see this drill sergeant. He's on his way to like get us up off the bus. He's screaming at us, and I'm like, yo. We know what this shit looks like. We hear it. We see it on TV. You know what I'm saying? We see our family members and whatnot talk about it. But, I mean, it was ruthless. But that's where it begins. And it's just like, yo, take your earrings off, your watch off, anything stylish off. You got hair. It's getting cut. Everything. I mean, it was like structure, 24/7. Like, you don't have no type of rights. You're not doing anything that you want to do. And for somebody like me who's used to doing whatever the fuck he wanted to do, it was cool, but I know how to play my role though. So I mean, you just learn as you go along. It's a game. Life is a game. You gotta learn the rules of the game before you play it. And but as you go along, you learn a few tips and tricks to get yourself along the way. So
okay, so would you say that structure helped you in your life today? That military experience? Yeah,
it helped me overall because it forced me to be in situations that I wouldn't otherwise put myself in. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like when you learn, so for some people, when you learn how to swim, like I watched my son learn how to swim. And the one thing that his instructor did, he went off the deep end or over to the deep waters, like 8 feet. He tossed them in the air in. So it's like, he wouldn't, I know. And so would you if somebody tossed you out. But that's your chance to, show what it is that you've learned. You know what I mean? So it's like they put you in these situations. They'll show you the ropes. But then when it's time to put on, we're going to see what you learned. And we're going to see what you didn't learn. And
so it's sink or swim?
Yeah, literally. In some cases. But, you know what I'm saying? I learned a lot. So I'm able to actually, impart that knowledge on my peers and, family members, friends. So, to this day, I would never take anything back that I've learned. I wouldn't make any other decision. I want to say that that's one of the best decisions that I made. I'm not advocating for anybody to join any type of military affiliation, anything like that. Trust me, but I'm very, very much content on the choice that I made.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you're very content on the choice that you made. So military, you got out, you got here to Baltimore. What was it like for you when you got here?
Yo, I ain't even gonna lie. Yo, listen, like I said, I'm from Brownsville, and if anybody know anything about Brownsville, that shit is not this. When I first got to the South, like South Carolina and just Virginia and stuff like that, when people would say good morning and stuff, I'm like, I don't fucking know you. That was my mentality at 19 years old, cause I don't know you. We don't talk to each other unless we know you. So if you talking to me, then it's like, yo, what's up? So that's how it was. So when I got out there, it was crazy. But anyway, fast forward, when I came to Baltimore, it was like, I think I was on North Ave. I don't know where I was at. This is '09. I ain't had no GPS. All I had was a piece of paper. I ain't had nothing. Yo, that was the first time that to pump gas, I actually had my gun on me. To pump gas, I was like, I don't even feel safe. Let me put my gun on me because it looked like a war zone. I'm like, yo, it's 1980 something out here. The way this shit looks, I was like, nah. But I slowly was like, okay. And then it's just going different places, just getting lost on purpose. I got to know people and, I figured it out.
Don't mess with you unless you mess with them sometimes. In most cases.
But the look of it, it's just, that's intimidating enough. It's like,
Yeah.
yo, man, listen, it was rough. It was rough.
It's like that, you know, no matter what hood or wherever you go, any state, they have those areas, right? And that's because of lack of resources and things that's taken from out of the community. But there's really some really great people that actually live in that area. But I can understand why you would feel that way.
Hell yeah, the visuals and shit like that. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I'm supposed to look
So you
left,
felt
look
like
right.
you was in the wire for real.
Why the fuck is so many damn cameras up there with the lights flashing? I'm
The
like,
blue
yo,
light.
What the fuck? Yo, that's like
Because the
chill.
blocks are probably indicted. I mean,
That don't mean that, you know, it's not welcoming. It's like, yo, listen, some shit might pop off. You may not make it back to your car from getting some damn treats.
no, you'll be fine. Okay, so fast forward, your culture shock, Baltimore.
Yeah.
You have a background, so you have your podcast, right? What
Yeah.
made you start podcasting? Let's get to that.
Podcasting, I didn't really think about podcasting. It was just a thought. In 2015, I thought about it. And you know, we were just messing around with the phones. Like, look, our conversations be funny as fuck. We do it around each other. We do it around other people, and they just have a blast. So I was like, at some point, we need to do like a podcast or just some type of show. It wasn't until I think Sugar Jay at the time, he was the one who was Jay Gordon at that time. I was like, look, I got a couple cameras. I got the microphones. Let's just hook this thing up. And at the time, it was the NYO podcast.
Okay.
So we did one pilot episode, and we went for like, we were just talking back and forth for 2 hours, and I was like, you know what? I think we could do this. And ever since then, it was just like, yo, let's just continue this thing. But I never was really sold on the quality.
Okay.
Like, I'm a stickler for quality. Like, I'm really like meticulous when it comes to seeing the overall finished product. And if it does, I don't care what it sounds like, but in terms of like, the content. But I'm more so focused on the audio visuals of the whole project. And I just wasn't sold on this. I was like, nah, I'm not doing it.
I understand. So what is the NYO? You said NYO?
It's Nacho Ordinary. It was the Nacho Ordinary podcast. It was a group of us. We were part of a group of producers and artists called Nacho Ordinary. So they called it that. We were just falling in line. And that's all it was. So we stopped doing that, killed it. It was like, I'm not fucking doing this shit.
Yeah, because you beat to your own drum.
No, but I like the overall project to look great. Like you know what I'm saying? Anybody that's a part of this project, I want us to look good when the light hits.
Okay.
And if that's not happening, then why am I doing it? Like, I'm like that with a lot of different things. And, you know, I don't believe in half-assing a lot of things because it's like you're going to have to turn back around and fucking pick up the pieces that you left anyway. So
That's true.
just do it right the first time. But anyways, so we killed that. And that was the end of that.
But you continue to still pod, correctly?
No.
Okay, so what, you stopped?
We stopped for about 2 years. And then in January of this year, January of this year, I was looking on Peerspace just for a podcast studio. So I ran across Digital Empath Studios. I'm like, all right, I think I can mess with this. I booked a session. I told Gillionaire, I said, listen, Tuesday, you're going to be here. I called Jay. He lives in Jersey. I'm like, look, you need to drive here on Tuesday. We doing this. I already booked it, so don't waste my money. Yeah, so he pulled up. I was like, all right, cool. We went to the studio over there in 10 South Street, and we showed up. Felt like we was home. I mean, it just felt good to get back in the swing of things, and we was just running, and everything just fell into place. It was organic, as it normally always is.
Yeah, that's very important when podcasting, because a lot of people don't understand that you need to make sure it's a good fit, right? Because that's what's going to keep the conversation going. That's what's going to keep you talking. That's going to keep you there. So with your podcasts and things like that, you have a lot of background in music. So it's Music, Life, and Love, the new podcast for those who are looking. You can find them on all streaming platforms. I want to get to you about music. Why is it so important to talk about music on your platform?
Well, first of all, you should have told me I could take my headphones off.
I told you
my
could
earrings
take
is
it.
like protruding through my ears and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
That's a nice chain, by the way.
Thank you.
So you said why is
music important to talk about it on your podcast?
well, because all three, well, everybody that we're around, they have a music background, whether it's producing, engineering, songwriting, and we all know that in our day-to-day lives, music plays an instrumental part, whether it's therapy or whether it's the creation process. So why not? You know, like I said, I'm an artist myself. I'm also a producer, and it's like, you know, everything is just all encompassing. So I wanted to have that as a theme. But when I did it, when I came up with Music, Life, and Love, I said, those are the three things. Those, like, it's so broad and there's so many things that go into all three that it will never be a dull moment. We don't have to, as you can see, we don't really always talk about music. We may just constantly talk about life, which that's broad. We may just talk about love, which seems to be like the biggest thing for us. Like everybody gravitates to, you know, the love topics that we speak about. So, so music being at the forefront, you know, we just felt that all three of those were probably the best elements to put together at the time.
Okay. So you say that you're an artist.
Right.
What kind of artist are you? How do you classify yourself?
I don't know. You heard my shit before?
Yes, I have.
So
and I've watched your videos.
Yeah, so what's up? What do you classify? Because I don't know. I don't listen to my shit. When I record my stuff, that's it. I let it fly. Just like I don't, out of all the episodes, Music, Life, and Love, I don't know one episode that I've watched from beginning to end.
Well, for me, if you're asking my opinion as far as your music, you do rap. For those who want to know, I think you just dabble into whatever sounds good. I think from listening to your music, it's more like, I like this beat. You know what? I'm going to throw these words on there.
Pretty much.
See?
I go with whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like if it sound good, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the stuff, I like music that motivates. I like the beats to motivate me, and then, you know, I don't really like just write to anything.
Okay.
So my whole rhythm and flow is kind of like, all right, play a couple beats, depending on what I'm going through at the moment or what I feel as though I went through, I could probably throw something together on it. There's been times where, you know, PJ for short, he's one of the guys who, you know, he's also an artist. We had him up on the show as well.
Okay.
He pulls me into the studio every single time, and I'm like, I'm not trying to do no music, bro. Like, just chill. I just want to focus on this podcast thing. I want to focus with Legend and Lee. I just want to chill like with y'all and whatnot. Nah, come on. This guy, he flaked on me. He didn't show up. I'm like, all right, I'll show up, but to do some footage. He'll be like, hey, man, you think you could throw something on? I'm like, oh, my God. All right, cool. Because, you know, my heart pumps when I hear the beat, and I'm like, all right, let me do something real quick. But, I mean, it's just something that I love doing. It's, you know, I just love doing it. I've been writing since I was like a kid, you know what I mean? And I never really took it serious like that. So, you know.
So what's one of the things that you wrote that stand out the most to you? One of your songs, like that means the most to
one
you?
of my favorites?
Yes.
Man.
I know it's so hard to ask artists that because, like you said, it depends on your mood or what you're going through at the time. Could be the one, but if you had to pick one,
I would have to say off. Oh my God! All right, one of the songs. It was off of Phase One. It was off my Phase One album. I think it was the first track. It was called Maserati Dreams. Excuse me, Maserati Wheels.
Okay.
The reason why is because at that particular time, I was going through a case. I had a bunch of charges on me.
Okay.
And it was like, I didn't know what was going to happen. So I said, you know what? If anything does happen, I want to make sure that I put all of this out, and I want it to be out there because I don't know what's going to take place. And it's funny how when your back is against the wall and you know you're upcoming on a couple of days, you want to do everything before that date. Like I was doing stuff like there was no tomorrow. Like I was just recording everything. I mean, I was on top of Corvettes riding down 83, just top down. Like, I mean, it was crazy. I was just doing everything that I could possibly do. I was just living my best life at that moment because I didn't know what to expect. And I feel as though that happened to me in order for me to see, like, something shouldn't have to take place in your life for you to do things like there's no tomorrow. You should already be doing that. And situation turned out great because I'm here. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
As we see.
But nah, that shit was nerve-wracking. So yeah, Maserati Wheels is one. There's another one. What is it called? I was just listening to it the other day. Gift and the Curse. That's off the Phase 2. Gift and a Curse. I think it's on phase 2 album anyway.
It's on one of the phases album.
Yeah. It's phase
Get
1,
them
phase
all.
2. Yeah, or listen to them. It's called Gift and a Curse. And the reason why I like that is because I'm talking to 2 different women who are in a situation. One of them, she got pregnant by a guy who doesn't want to be in her life.
Okay.
And he ain't shit. And so and this was an actual conversation that I have over the phone with one of the girls, and I'm telling her everything like, yo, you saw everything before it was gonna happen, and you had a chance to dip, but you didn't. So you gotta like navigate your situation accordingly. Like you can't just like break down because you're gonna be the only one to pick yourself up. Clearly, he ain't gonna be there for you, whatever. So that was one perspective, and then on the second verse, it was a woman who was very successful. She graduated with honors. She was just, businesswoman, successful. But her friends use her all the time because of that. They use her as a crutch. So although she had all these endeavors that she was successful at, the emptiness and her selflessness was her flaw.
Okay.
Because she would just constantly get used and whatnot. So it's like gift and a curse. So that is the whole concept. But
That's
anyway.
good. That's really, really good. I like that. So you also say you produce.
Yeah, I'm a producer.
So what made you tap into that? Because it's one thing to be an artist and you hear a beat and you're expressing to the world what you feel. But it's another to sit there and actually make a beat.
Yeah, so like a lot of rappers I know are... Part of our goal is to have an image. Rappers have an image. The image has to be like, hey, I got the girls, the cars, the clothes, and most importantly, the money, the lifestyle. The reality of it is this. Beats cost money. I ain't had it. Like, I'm not paying you $5,000 for an exclusive when that $5K could go towards marketing and promotion, and that's light. So I said, even if we want to rewind, I went to school for audio production.
Okay.
And the reason why I went to school for audio production is because when me and Gillionaire was driving to every studio in the damn tri-state area, we was getting shitty ass quality. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. If I'm gonna pay for this, I might as well go to school, learn how to do this shit. And if it sounds shitty, at least it's because I made it sound shitty.
Okay.
Not because I paid some quote unquote professional to make it sound shitty. So because of a subpar product, or byproduct, whatever you want to call that shit. I think it's a byproduct because it sounds like utter shit. It made me go to school and learn the mechanics of recording. So I did that first. So I built my own studio. Years later, then my son's mother, right at the time, this is when my son was born, I was like, I want a beat machine. Shout out to Shanaja. I want a beat machine. So she got me the beat machine. She got me like some nice shit. She was like, what kind do you want? I'm like, all right, I don't know yet. I hit Sugar J, who was Jay Gone at the time. He was like, get the machine, trust me. So she got me the machine. That was like the worst thing she could have did. Cause like, I had, like my son was just like maybe like a week or 2 weeks old. So I was like, listen, had him in one arm, had this hand free. I'm doing all of this stuff. And I'm like, yo, he's in here, he's crying, but I'm learning how to do this. Like they ain't getting no time. They didn't get, that's what I said. It was
because your attention was somewhere else.
Damn right.
And that happens though.
Baby crying. You know what I'm saying? Go handle that. You
That
got
happens.
the milk.
That happens.
So
that was the start of your being a producer, your journey, and why you decided to make beats, which is really good. So everyone can take from what he just said, right? If you want something to a certain standard, and it's not saying that it isn't people out there, it does not hurt to learn the craft. It does not hurt for you to be educated in it. I'm a control freak, right?
I know.
I can say that. I want to learn how to do every single thing. So there's never a moment where I can't fit in and do what I need to do to move my product. Now, once I start trusting others more and putting it in their hands, then okay. But if something was to happen, I should be able to have the knowledge to be able to fix it. That's how I feel. But again, everybody don't think that way, right? Because they'd be like, people got money for that. You just pay the people to do that. So again, for me, that would be a gift and a curse, right?
Facts.
Okay.
There's some
Bring
stuff
it to that.
There's some stuff that like there's a lot of stuff that you do. I think you should be a principal. Nah, because you just tell people, yo, get out the hall. Get out the hall. Go to class. Come here. You come here. I can see you doing this finger. No, you come here. I can see you doing that. You ever thought about like being in the education system?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
It's not for me. It's not for me. No, absolutely not. No. I just have this energy where, hey, got to make sense, and we're going to get the point A to point B. It's no time to fuck around. That's just that for me, right? And it has to make sense. I'm a very logical person. So that's just that. If it's not making sense, it's going to be very hard to sway me to see it, right? So you would have to really print out the picture. Like, I need to see.
Are you a risk taker?
Am I a risk taker?
Yeah, I mean,
Hell
you know,
yeah. I'm a risk taker, but it has to make sense in my head to take that risk.
Okay, so
If that makes sense.
So it's like, yo, I'm not just gonna run across the street and not look both ways. I'm just gonna
Hell no.
a leap of faith.
I know I can get hit by a damn car. Leap of faith my ass. He say, don't be stupid either.
Facts.
Okay, it's a difference of being stupid and leading blindly. However, that also comes with trust of people.
Right.
So I say, this point in my life, everybody needs to prove themselves to me. So if you prove yourself to me that I can trust you, then I can follow you blindly.
Like a man, like, you know what I'm saying? Like your ideal man, you would want him, like his qualities have to be, I guess, somewhat similar to yours a little bit, but just like, you know, it'd still be different. In other words, he has to show you first that he has the capability to lead you.
Of course. I think that should be for all men. I think that should be the standard across the board because, again, behind every great man, there's a great woman, right? And I get that. But men, and this is me, I'm not about to ruffle some feathers when I say this, right?
Right.
For me, men set the tone. Us women, we will conform or follow what you have going on. It could be a positive way or it could be a negative way. But if you are the leader and you're showing me that you can do doom, 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 and I'm not saying the most craziest things, but for me to trust you enough for you to lead me, then I'm going to follow. It's just that simple.
So you would you work with your man? You know, maybe he's not perfect because everybody doesn't come packaged perfectly. I was about to say perfectly. But anyways, he may not have the whole package, but if he does have qualities that you can see where he can go with your help, would you even entertain that? Or you want him to be like already come through, like already ready to just, you know what I'm saying, point here, hey, this is what we got to do. Because a lot of times those kind of guys, you know, there's a certain type of woman that he attracts, or is a certain type of woman that he goes for. So then would you work with somebody who is not all the way there and you guys could work together to get there, or you want the guy that's cream of the crop already?
So when you say cream of the crop, what do you mean?
So he's successful in every area of his life. He has his shit together. Whereas you may have a guy who maybe is not where the other guy is at, but he's working to get there. So would you like work with him, or you're like, nah, he doesn't work for me. I want the other guy that's already at the top.
So it not necessarily, if we're talking about finances or things like that in that order, he could be working on his thing actively, right? Because we always want to be great. So for me to work with you, I need to see that's what you're working on.
Got you.
You understand? Like that's fine. But as far as him having his shit together to lead me mentally, to lead me emotionally, you damn right. I'm not working with you with that because that's a you thing. That's something you got to do for you. I can't do that for you. So you need to already make yourself happy. I can add to your happiness, but I am not the source of your happiness. That's within you, right? You got to already know yourself and still willing to keep learning yourself. That has to already be there. I'm not in that thing to heal you to do that. I'm not doing it. I just can't. I don't have the patience for it because ultimately, like I said, if you don't see it, how am I going to make you see it if you're not ready emotionally and mentally? You got to find yourself. And sometimes you can't find yourself dealing with other people. That can be, how can I say this? A distraction. Because it's easy to mask yourself in someone else than actually deal with yourself. I'm not into that. We'll be friends. We'll be cool. Or I'll take you on as a client because I also do life coaching.
Yeah.
However, you ultimately have to fix you. That way, I know you can lead me emotionally and mentally. I know that our conversations won't be toxic, right? It'll come not only just from an emotional space, but more of a logical sense.
So let me ask you this. You like Tootsie Rolls or Jolly Ranchers?
I eat both.
That's what's up. Cause I feel like behind closed doors, you laugh hard. Like you laugh hard.
Oh,
You know what
I
I'm
am
saying?
silly.
Yeah, I know.
I
See-
am silly. I laugh. I play. I joke. I love music. I have a lot of fun. Like a lot of fun. I think I was talking to someone earlier, a friend of mine earlier, and I said, listen, if we can't have fun together, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Skydiving, you with it?
I would try it. I would do it.
Skinny dipping,
I've already done that.
running down the street naked.
I've already done it.
Yo, let me tell you what I did one time. There was this thing called Spice or K2, whatever it was. It's some type of smoke, whatever. Anyway, it's garbage. I took that shit. It was like 2 degrees outside. So I was in the house. The heat was on blast. I took that shit. All of a sudden, I started getting hotter. I was like, I need to take my clothes off. I ain't had no clothes on. So I ran outside and I started rolling around on the concrete. It was just fucking cold as shit. I know that was a random moment, but
No, it's fine. It makes sense. It actually brings back into what I was getting ready to say about you because of the questions you just asked me. Yeah. So what about you as far as dealing with females? How do you feel that's going to be, or are you that guy that you want the woman? Matter of fact, let me ask you this first. Are you that guy that wants the woman to see his potential, right? And work with him to achieve his full potential?
Yeah, I do. But I also could identify the woman as work, because let's be honest, women got to deal with a lot of bullshit along their journey.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, y'all got to y'all ducking a bunch of targets and shit. You got dudes on a daily basis. See, before they ain't have social media and shit, so you ain't had to worry about that if you wasn't on social media. You only had to worry about that shit when you was going outside. Now you got to look to 50 fucking DMs. You got to look at all this crazy shit. So I could see if there's a woman, I could identify if she's on her shit, because you tend to notice when a woman is focused on her goals, and you know what I'm saying, or at least I can. So I think for me it would be one of those things that if she has the potential, I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. You don't have to pour into me initially. I'm gonna watch you. I'm gonna see what you're doing, because I know for a fact a woman sees what the fuck a dude is doing. I can tell you that right damn now, because y'all can smell success a mile away. I've learned that throughout the years. So if she could pour into me, great. But but I'm not gonna interrupt her path. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna jump in the way just because, you know, it's natural. I mean, of course, if I'm attracted to you, I'm attracted to you. We're going to play. But ultimately, I know kind of where to scale back at. I'm like, nah.
Okay.
Don't mess with her.
So when you say scale back, right? What do you mean scale back? What would make you scale back from a woman that you see potential in, but then you like, nah, don't mess with her?
Because if I know after her communicating to me that she wants to be in a relationship, a stable relationship, one-on-one, but that's not what I want, I'm not going to continue fucking with her on that level, because I'm like, nah, because there's going to be feelings attached to that. And she's already doing stuff that she needs her emotions intact in that direction. I'm good. It's okay. It ain't even worth the headache on either one of our ends, because I'm not trying to get the phone call, all right, or the text message, oh, why you didn't text me? Or just, you know, hey, what's going on? And then I'm giving her the cold shoulder. That's not cool. I ain't doing all that.
So you would say that you make it perfectly clear when you're, first of all, where are you right now in the dating phase? Are you in that phase?
I'm single. I'm not dating. I'm lame right now. I ain't doing any of that.
Okay, are you open to being in a relationship, or you just...
Yeah. I'm not going to shut that off. You know what I'm saying? Like, ultimately, I do want to be in a relationship at some point. When? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I might meet the right one whenever. I don't mean when I'm not even looking for it.
So when you say right one, what is the right one?
Just, you know, somebody who I could work with. I could, most importantly, forget working with, I could build with. Like, we don't even have to talk relationship shit. What I've noticed throughout the years, I get turned on some business shit. Like when you talking business to me, like I'm like, shit, I'm interested now, because it's like after the sex, after all the intimacy, after the TV goes off, after you wake up in the morning, now what? The fuck is we doing? But if we could bridge that with building an empire, that's gonna last way longer than them 15 minutes, the hour of the fucking Netflix, the hour of whatever you was watching, the hour of being on Instagram and shit like that. The shit that don't really matter. It doesn't have any type of value. So that other side is what kind of like, you know, compels me to be like, you know what? I could see myself with this partner because it's a partnership. If we could fucking build a business together, we might not work out, but at least we could say, yo, but when it comes to business, we fuck some shit up.
Yeah, we're getting it together. We're getting it together.
Word.
So this is what brings me back into you, right? Because on your podcast, you guys also talk about life aspect, and that is a part of life, not just love, but life, right? You said building and foundation.
Yeah.
So let's tap into that as far as life. Would you say you're a man who has a big ego? Like the male ego?
Nah, fuck that. Because I got fucked over so many times from people that showed me that their ego was a lot bigger than mine. and I'm gonna continue to get fucked over till the day I die, because that's who I am. You know what I'm saying? I got a big heart. You know what I'm saying? I'm still fucked up though, but like in terms of ego, I have one, but I know when and where to check that shit. I don't mind being number 2. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no problem letting somebody take the lead, especially if they best fit for that shit. Or even if they're not, give them a chance. That's the problem. Like, yo, everything that I've done, I never got a chance. I had to fight my way into this shit. Whether it was music, whether it was just, military, workspace, you know what I'm saying, corporate. Like, I had to fight my way through every corner, and nobody really gave me anything. So you can't have an ego coming into the room and you not that guy. You better check that shit at the door, or you will be led to the door. And people were very quick to show me that. So that's why, like, women, like, I deal with a lot of women when it comes to business in general, because women don't have egos, and if they do it, they ain't show it to me. You know what I'm saying? They're able to, like, let their fucking hair down a little bit. Even when they showed me things that I was doing wrong, they were like, hey, look, you fucking up. You need to fix it. Here's why you need to fix it. I've had dudes just fuck me over, take my money, real estate deals, joint ventures, some things I can't even talk about. They disappear. They start coming up with excuses. Oh, my wife died. I'm like, bro, what are you talking? Your wife
That's
didn't
not
die
an excuse.
Your wife didn't die when I gave you my $10,000. What the fuck is you talking about? That shit is real. Like, yo, I got mouths to feed too. Like, this money came from somewhere. You taking it from me, now I gotta come. Now see, like, shit like that. You can't commingle the streets with the business aspect of it. Because if it was the streets, perfect. I see you when I see you, then great. You can't do that in business.
That's a really good point to point out to everybody, right? In business, you're going to take some pitfalls. There is going to be some ups. There's going to be some downs. There's going to be people that's going to use you. And there's also going to be a time where your home team may not be your finishing team, right? So just think about it like that. And I totally understand. And then doing business with friends. Everybody say you shouldn't do it, but I think the best business relationship is some type of mutual friendship or mutual understandings, mutual agreements for y'all business to align, right? And take the egos out of it and our own way of thinking and opening your eyes to another look, right? And I do apologize for that even happening to you, right? Because it shouldn't happen to nobody, but it does happen.
I'm glad it happened.
You said you're glad it happened because it makes you, more aware? Explain why you're glad that it happened.
I'm glad it happened simply because, number one, I was able to see who was who for what. And number two, I learned from it.
Okay.
And it taught me that, yo, listen, every business transaction that you encounter is not going to be a successful one. Not only that, it's okay to fall on your fucking face, because now we're going to see what you made of. Are you still going to keep going, or you going to keep crying about fucking spoiled ass milk, or you going to make some shit pop? So you build some fucking balls.
Not even just building your goals, right? Like they say, I think the most successful people learn from failure, in my opinion. And for you to say that you've learned from that kind of shaped you so you can actually see who people are and understand it's okay to fall. But do you think you came back better every time you fell? Nah,
I didn't know, because there's been times where I fell 1, 2, 3 times and still did the same fuck shit. So if I ain't learned from it, then okay, cool. I feel like life, you know what I'm saying? Depends on the perspective of what you consider life. Some people say, hey, if you don't get it right in this lifetime, you're going to come back until you get it. You keep building up consciousness. So that way, when you cross over, you understand, you have that consciousness. 'Cause that's the only thing you're taking with you. You're not taking this watch. You're not taking that dress. You're not taking that nice ass chain. That shit is dope. You're not taking Lee's not taking none of these boards. Gillionaire's not taking that drink in his hand. None of that stuff. You're not taking no money with you. You're just taking your consciousness. So to go back to that, it's almost like you actually have to stop for a second and realize, hey, this been happening. It's a reoccurring theme. Something gotta change. I want different results, but I'm doing the same shit. What's that? Insanity?
Yes.
As
That's
they
what
say.
it means.
So no, not every time I did learn, but when I did, I never turned back. I had to go a different path. Even with the music thing, I was bumping my head with the music, the same thing over and over again. And I was like, you know what? I got to pivot and go in another direction. Did the podcasting thing. Who knows? I may have to pivot and say, you know what, Chris, you're going to do the podcasting thing if you want. Take Music, Life, and Love. It's on you. Jaden, you do it. Joe, you do it. You know what I'm saying? And I step back. Y'all the new talent. Take it. It ain't about me. You hosted our podcast. You know what I'm saying? Which is something that G was saying for you to do. Well, he told me. Then Ham just stamped it. Was like, yo, I think you need to work with Legend. Like, I don't have no problem. If I had an ego, then it would have been like, fuck, I need Legend podcasting my shit. But I'm like, yo, she's powerful. She's pretty. She need to be up there doing that shit.
Well, thank y'all for even allowing me to do that, right?
You about to do it again.
Anyway, back to what I was saying. And I wouldn't mind, doing it sometimes at all. But with this being said, right, and we talked about journey and your life paths, you stood out some things that really made sense. You said some things that stood out. And you were saying, just because I did not learn the other times and I kept bumping my head, one day I will wake up. So for those who are still doing the same thing over and over again, just know one day you can wake up and just try a different path. Our journey takes us on so many different paths, so many different lanes, and sometimes you hit dead ends. So you got to do what? A U-turn. And I want to thank you for coming today. I really appreciate it. Give out your social media handles so everyone can follow you, please.
All right, cool. MLL Podcast on Instagram, at the real M.Soto on Instagram as well. At MLL Podcast, also on TikTok and Twitter, YouTube, Music, Life, and Love Podcast.
Yes. Make sure you guys definitely follow them, please. It's a dope show, and I'm not just saying that because they're on my show, because y'all know I ain't gonna lie. Anyway, with that being said, you guys, at the end of the day, life is going to throw you curveballs. Life is going to take you down many different avenues and paths. All you got to do is choose the right one. And if you didn't, it's fine. Learn from it, bust that U-turn, and try again. Thank y'all so much for listening. This has been another episode of The Journey of a Soul Sister.
This is a Anything Goes podcast production.